This is Josh from Kicks Vapor. I see a lot of videos online about how to properly wind a coil, but I never ever see videos on proper wicking or basic wicking techniques. So I figure I'll do a little quick video tutorial in regards to that. Sorry for the awkward camera position. I don't have a really good camera setup. So I'm going to run you through a basic setup for pretty much anybody who's just getting into RDAs. I decided to forego the building aspect and just focus on the wicking to make a shorter video. So let's do a little rundown of that. I'm going to do a basic single coil. Now what I do is I unroll the cotton ball and then I find a nice consistent section. The biggest thing that I see and the biggest mistake that I see in wicking is everybody compresses down their cotton. If you compress and twist your cotton, what tends to happen is you tend to not be able to properly wick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of judge the diameter of the coil, and then I am going to make a piece of cotton to coincide with that. So I take my scissors and I take my unrolled cotton and I kind of try to size it out. You don't want it too wide, you don't want it too thick, but you want to keep it nice, fluffy, and consistent. Simplicity is best here. Everybody tries to make it so complex with like the dragon coils and this and that. That's not absolutely required to chuck clouds, essentially. So what I like to do is I like to take my piece of cotton and I lightly roll it. I don't twist it. All I want to do is roll it and connect the fibers. If you twist it, what happens is it compresses the cotton down too far and too hard. And then it makes for wicking, terrible wicking. So we're going to keep this nice and fluffy. One end we're going to take and we're going to twist down. And that's what we're going to thread through the actual coil itself. And that's the only reason we twist that down. But you notice how everything else is nice and fluffy. So we're going to get that nice and tight right there. Now we're going to run it through the coil. Now you want to be able to get it through there with ease, and you want to be able to move it back and forth. That way you can fluff out the opposite end and then fluff out the main deck end. So then we're going to clip, and we're going to flip it around, and we're going to clip some more off. Now what I like to do is I like to get a little bit of juice on there, and the juice acts as a glue essentially. So we're going to get it soaked and saturated. I mean, it doesn't have to be ridiculously saturated. And now for the maximum airflow, what I like to do is I kind of tuck my cotton down into the deck, but I do not tuck it underneath the actual coil itself. If you tuck it underneath the coil itself, it prevents a lot of airflow. So what we're going to do is we're going to lightly fluff this down. And if you do it too hard, you're going to compress the cotton, and you don't want to do that. Like I said before, that's one of the biggest mistakes I see in wicking. People complain about a burnt taste. Well, that's because your wick is not properly wicking. So we're going to lightly pad this down. I'm still leaving a nice gap underneath the coil here, right there. So lightly tuck this under. Mind you, this is just basic wicking. This isn't super fluffy, super get 12 hits out of one drop type of thing. This is just something basic for people who don't know how to do it. So Some people may disagree with my methods, some people may not, some people may absolutely learn a lot from this. And that's kind of what I'm going for. So leave as much room underneath that coil as you can, and voila. A nice basic wicking. I chose to do a single coil just for ease of preparation and getting this video done quickly. Sometimes what happens when you use organic cotton is you'll get something called the cotton taste. Everybody knows that taste. One way to get through it real fast without having to deal with tasting it is not dry burn, but saturate it and then burn it until it's close to dry. Some people like to blow on it, and this just kind of emulates as if you were actually taking puffs and breaking in the cotton, but doing it without having to taste it. So let's throw the top cap on. Now you always want to face the air hole towards the top cap, or sorry, towards the coil. Let's give her a vape. Everybody thinks you need a dual coil for clouds. That just proves that you don't. Take care, guys. Josh from Kicks Vapor.